This is something different. There I had given you the picture of the physiological determinants of blood pressure. What are the physiological determinants of blood pressure?
Resistance,
Cardiac output, elasticity.
stroke volume.
So definition is, now the definition is still evolving. Again, 2017 there is a new update. So I will not be asking about the guidelines, the values for hypertension. But anyhow, you will remember this as systolic greater than 140, diastolic greater than 90. It is a silent killer. People think that if they have headache, go to a physician and check your blood pressure. No, it is a silent killer.
Yes.
The headache comes only when it becomes malignant. When the hypertension becomes malignant. And the acute aggressive form, that this is the malignant hypertension in about just 5% of patients. So definition of the hypertension, staging and classification of hypertension, clinical indication and diagnostics. I don't know what are the MAQs, so just I put it. Two common causes for secondary hypertension. Then primarily hypertension is because of alterations in intravascular volume, autonomic nervous system, RAS, and vascular mechanisms. How many of you have read? I have uploaded this lecture before. How many of you have read this lecture? Read this lecture?
Just
No time. Huh?
We just printed.
What about Eid?
I had a little bit of view.
Yeah, the little video. Okay. The recommended criteria for diagnosis of hypertension. I have written, please check for latest guidelines with debate. Still debate going on. 2017, they have decreased this 140 by 90 to 130 by 80.
Yes.
Okay. So here, based on 24 hours, so you go to a physician, you check it in a home, blood pressure monitoring, you check with automated blood pressure manometers, and there is what is also called as ambulatory, means 24 hours they will record. You have apparatus, you record it. Okay. So average awake 135 by 85, sleep 120 by 75. These two corresponds to 140 by 90. Staging, we used to say previously, now again debatable.
Yes.
The guidelines are evolving. Normal 120 and by 80. Now pre-hypertension, this previously used to say 120/39 or 80/89 is the diastolic. Now they are still considering as this also has hypertension. Okay, that you will read more in clinical side. So I will not be dealing more with that. Okay, and stage 1 140 and stage 2
I think right now the normal starts from 130.
Yes.
According to latest guidelines.
Yeah, 130 by
8. The systolic is
80.
increased.
systolic.
8 increased by 10. So
Yeah, 130 by 80, right? Exactly right. Okay. So two types: primary, secondary, and we say benign, but the hypertension is not benign. But we say malignant when the systolic pressure is more than 200, diastolic more than 120. So the most common cause of death with malignant hypertension will be the renal failure. You have retina, cerebrovascular, kidney. So with or without papillary. Usually malignant hypertension arises. It can arise de novo, means from the outset,
Yes.
or it can follow pre-existing hypertension. That can become malignant, means the pressure increases. Now these are the two common causes of secondary hypertension. So here, this is here renal parenchymal disease. Renal parenchymal disease will lead to hypertension, and hypertension, vice versa, will lead to
renal failure.
renal failure. Okay. So renal parenchymal disease, if there is urinary tract infection, destruction, hematuria, analgesic abuse, family polycystic kidney. Most common cause of death in polycystic kidney disease. Two common complications of polycystic kidney disease: hypertension and infection. These two are the common causes. Okay. So here, physical examination of abdominal mass. I don't have an idea of how the MEQ will be, but suppose if they are asking about hypertension and they give you secondary cause, the two are the more common causes. Okay. So laboratory, you find proteins, RBCs, decrease GFR. You find if there is infection, there is leukocytes. You do ultrasound. What happens in polycystic kidney? Well, ultrasound.
Show this.
Polycystic kidney.
Testes.
Very big, very big. It becomes very big. Whereas chronic glomerulonephritis, bilaterally symmetrical
Yes.
decrease. Okay, detailed work of kidney disease. Renal artery stenosis. Here, early onset of hypertension, especially women, with abrupt onset of hypertension, difficult to treat, and pulmonary edema as well. Okay. Physical examination reveals abdominal bruit because there is arterial narrowing. It creates sound that is called bruit, and you will have a difference of 1.5 centimeter in length between the two kidneys. One side where there is ischemia, that side the kidney decreases. So you have asymmetrical kidneys, difference of greater than 1.5 centimeter in length. 1.5 centimeter in length difference between the two kidneys. So you do Doppler ultrasound duplex angiography. Okay.
Sir Abdullah,
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, but there is another one below it.
Another one?
There is a third one, I'm not showing in this slide.
Yeah, I will do. This is the animation.
Allah.
Because suppose if I keep it, it becomes smaller. So I get animation.
How come? Yes.
Just three causes. Important words, you can make it red now. Hand out. Okay. So here we talk about renal artery stenosis one, another one infection and renal damage there,
Okay.
and here aldosterone. Everything revolves around whenever you are talking about hypertension, we talk about three things. Yes. Here, and you have here. Okay.
The number.
We are talking about these three. So if there is infection, if there is polycystic kidney, if there is, this is renal artery stenosis, renal artery stenosis. I should not write or ask. Renal artery stenosis. Yes. Renal artery stenosis. So greater than 1.5 centimeter in length. Okay. If you are taking lot of analgesic abuse, what is a well recognized complication? If you are taking lot of analgesics,
Analgesic nephropathy.
nephropathy. Well recognized complication of analgesic nephropathy is transitional cell carcinoma of the renal pelvis. Okay. Then we will talk about the medulla. We will talk about here in the cortex predominantly aldosterone. Here, from here, this will activate here. So renin, this is the renin. So we will see, concentrate on this figure and you have everything there. Okay. So muscle weakness, there is electrolyte imbalance here. Hypokalemic alkalosis. Okay. So you have again early onset of hypertension, cerebrovascular disease less than 40 years of age, hypokalemia, more of aldosterone, sodium retention, throwing out potassium, hypokalemia. Say. Okay. You do aldosterone renin ratio are the standardized conditions. Confirmatory is adrenal CT scan, maybe for adenoma or adrenal vein sum. So that finishes. So in short, what about the three conditions? What about the three conditions?
Renal stenosis.
Renal stenosis, Yeah, early onset of hypertension, aldosterone, primary hyperaldosteronism, and
Infection.
renal disease from urinary tract obstruction, from polycystic kidney disease. These three are difference in greater than 1.5 centimeter in length
Yes.
is
Renal
renal artery stenosis. You have abdominal bruit. So now coming to operations in intravascular volume, we don't know the reason. Salt can activate neural, we will see, endocrine and paracrine and vascular mechanisms. They cause increase in arterial pressure. The effect of sodium on blood pressure is related to the provision of sodium with chloride. Non-chloride salts do not have a little effect on blood pressure. Reason not known. If you find out the reason, let me know. Okay. So they say non-chloride salts of sodium, they do not have any effect on blood pressure.
So the sodium will retain chloride if the sodium increase. I didn't understand this statement.
The effect of sodium on blood pressure is related to provision of sodium with chloride. Means in sodium you have sodium chloride, sodium bromide,
Okay.
sodium iodide.
Yes.
Okay, of all this, only the chloride salt will give rise to hypertension, not the non-chloride salts. We don't know the reason. Okay, this is the meaning of that. So if you want an MCQ, I can make an MCQ here. Which of the following salts of sodium will have effect on blood pressure? Chloride, bromide, iodide. Okay. Okay, we are going on the therapy. Now, we talked about physiology, now we will talk about pharmacology, the treatment part. We say, advise the patient for low sodium chloride. So, how sodium chloride? Little intake of sodium chloride decreases blood pressure, we will see here, the basics. Increase sodium chloride intake, give rise to increased arterial pressure. The mechanism here, increase urinary sodium excretion. So increased sodium chloride intake will increase arterial pressure to cause more of sodium to get excreted,
Yes.
to increase GFR. Okay, we will see here. The phenomena for this pressure natriuresis, arterial pressure to excrete sodium is related to subtle increase in glomerular filtration rate. The filtration rate should be increased. Decrease absorbing capacity of the renal tubules.
Yes.
So here GFR. So here now sodium is more.
Excretion more.
So increase GFR. It should be increased GFR
No reabsorption.
and decrease reabsorption. First, second, possibly neurohormonal factors. So you need to draw heart.
Yes.
So from here, you have the atrial natriuretic factor.
Yes.
Possibly atrial natriuretic factor. And you have already finished urinary block. Patients with chronic renal failure, they suffer from hypertension. How do you treat that hypertension?
First diet. Pharmacology and non-pharmacology.
Okay.
Non-pharmacology يعني strict diet and decrease sodium more than one.
So the most important is you maintain input
Yes.
and output chart. Because the glomeruli, they are sclerosed.
Yeah.
If you take excess quantity of water, that cannot be excreted. Hence the blood volume increases, so the blood pressure increases.
What's the suitable drugs for him? Is it ARBs?
Yes, one is ARB, but 80%, 20% respond to ARB, but 80% dialysis is a must for the hypertension to come down. Because blood volume has increased. The blood volume, yeah, dialysis response. Okay. So end-stage renal disease is an extreme example of volume-dependent hypertension. So volume, how do you remove from an end-stage kidney disease? By dialysis. So that's how the hypertension comes back to normal. Now, impaired capacity to excrete sodium give rise to greater increases in arterial pressure to require to achieve natriuresis and sodium balance. This is what we are talking about. If you take more of sodium chloride, our kidneys they do not have the capacity to excrete sodium, the pressure increases, the GFR increases, the reabsorbing capacity decreases, atrial natriuretic peptide secretion possibly increases to achieve sodium balance. So sodium chloride dependent hypertension may be a consequence of decreased capacity of kidney to excrete sodium due to intrinsic renal disease or because of aldosterone, production of aldosterone. Third reason is by increased neural activity to the kidney. Three conditions will cause sodium chloride dependent hypertension. Decreased capacity of the kidney, increased secretion of aldosterone, and third is increased neural activity to the kidney.
Decrease intrinsic renal disease will decrease reabsorption of sodium chloride.
Increase?
Decrease reabsorption of sodium chloride.
No, here is impaired capacity to excrete sodium.
Okay.
Intrinsic renal disease is because of impaired capacity to excrete sodium. There, as a consequence, what I was talking is about the treatment. If sodium chloride intake is more, there should be increase in GFR. There should be decrease in reabsorption.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes.
So these are the three reasons. So the mechanisms for sodium chloride hypertension, one, and another one is the mechanisms for pressure natriuresis, 1 to 3. Okay, mechanisms for pressure natriuresis to restore intravascular volume. Clear?
Yes.
Now, coming to autonomic nervous system, increased arterial pressure rate give rise to increased rate of firing of baroreceptors. Decreased sympathetic outflow, cardioinhibitory center, okay?
Yeah.
Vasomotor center, and decreases arterial pressure and heart rate. So what happens here is, with age, the activity of the baroreceptor reflex. Aging, the physiology is must always talk only about aging, not pathology. When they teach well physiology, automatically you will understand pathology, and this will ease my work of explanation. So physiology should talk applied physiology. Don't go into pathology. With aging, they should describe the aging aspects. What happens during aging? For every system with aging, the function declines. Okay. So the baroreflex declines are adapted to sustain increases in arterial pressure. So the baroreceptors are reset to higher pressures. So patients with autonomic neuropathy with impaired baroreflex function, they are difficult to treat. They have rapid spikes in the blood pressure.
Victor, it has to be in the old people to be adapted, or it can be in young people if they...
Resetting can happen whenever there is increase in blood pressure. Like for example, our thermostat regulator, it resets at a high temperature. That's why we get shivering.
Yeah.
So like that, these also resets at a higher pressure. The baroreceptor, they reset at a higher pressure. Or the baroreceptor activity may decline with age. Both things can happen. Okay, resetting at high pressure, the baroreceptors. Okay. Now, another thing is sympathetic outflow is higher in hypertensive than in normotensive individuals. Sympathetic outflow means, so I will not be going in for pathology. The alpha receptors, the beta receptors, alpha 1, alpha 2. So that is higher, sympathetic outflow is higher in hypertensive. So if the alpha is higher, more of vasoconstriction, more of blood pressure. Sympathetic outflow increased obesity related hypertension and hypertension associated with obstructive sleep apnea. These two conditions you find increased sympathetic activity. Obstructive sleep apnea, you know? The soft tissue falls back, it closes the airway. So he will have apnea.
And sleep in the chair.
Yeah, they will sleep in the chair, yes. So here. So now, just one example. Pheochromocytoma. We talked here, you must concentrate here. Pheochromocytoma.
Secondary.
Yes, pheochromocytoma is the most blatant example of hypertension related to increased catecholamine production. So here, you also get episodes of hypertension in this case. Can you explain?
Hypertension.
Yes, at the source of also of hypertension you get. There is hypertension, there is hypotension. Why do you get hypertension?
Resistance or sensitivity.
Of the receptors, they declines. So that is responsible for.
Victor, the meaning of sympathetic outflow. The meaning of this.
Sympathetic is alpha.
Yes,
Alpha.
Outflow. Sympathetic outflow.
Outflow means you have the craniosacral, the parasympathetic, and thoracolumbar, the sympathetic. And the sympathetic is causing vasoconstriction,
Yes.
increase in blood pressure. Clear? Clear, not clear?
Yes.
So, Doctor, episode of hypertension with pheochromocytoma?
Yeah?
Okay.
So simply, this is related to catecholamines. Again, epinephrine, norepinephrine, which is part of the sympathetic system. This is actually a sympathetic ganglion. Adrenal medulla is a sympathetic ganglion. Okay? Clear? Anybody having questions? Yes? Back? Clear? Now, we used to read about angiotensin. What are the physiological functions of angiotensin 2?
The most important vasoconstriction.
Most powerful, most vasopressor, yes.
Stimulation of testosterone.
Stimulation of aldosterone. And now you will read about this is a potent mitogen that stimulates the vascular smooth muscles and the myocyte growth. So it is causing vascular smooth muscle cell growth, causing decrease in the lumen size. It is causing myocyte growth also. Okay. So we have three effects on three organs. We will see later on. So it plays a role in the pathogenesis of atherosclerosis through a direct cellular action on the vessel wall. So this is the cellular action on the vessel wall stimulates as a mitogen. Okay. The next is if you have excess of tissue and angiotensin 2, it contributes to atherosclerosis, cardiac hypertrophy, myocyte growth, and renal failure.
We know the cardiac hypertrophy and adrenal failure, but how atherosclerosis? How it will cause atherosclerosis?
He says, pathogenesis of atherosclerosis. I did not find another statement, following statement. How that causes it? The question is good. Give me feedback. Read about something more and give me feedback. So I also didn't read any hypertension. Maybe I have to read more. Okay. So excess tissue, angiotensin 2. So you have vascular growth, smooth muscle cell growth. You have cardiac hypertrophy. You have renal failure. Okay. So normally angiotensin 2 is active on angiotensin type 1 receptor. That is the normal one. It is acting on type 1 receptors. Okay. In the notes below, I have mentioned some extra points. Those who would like to study, I have mentioned below. Okay. Now there are also angiotensin type 2 receptors, which have opposite action that of angiotensin type 1 receptors. So you have two receptors for angiotensin. Angiotensin 2 has got two receptors, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is causing these effects, and type 2 causes the opposite effects. The opposite effects. So the opposite effects causes vasodilatation. Here vasoconstriction, here vasodilatation. It is causing sodium excretion and inhibition of cell growth. It is causing cell growth here. It is causing inhibition. Just reverse.
Yes.
The reverse of type 1 receptors. So 82 receptors, angiotensin type 2 receptors improve vascular remodeling by stimulating smooth muscle cell apoptosis. Here it is causing growth, here it is causing apoptosis, the opposite one. Okay, contributes to regulation of GFR. AT1 receptor blockades induces increase in A2 receptor activity. This is how it is beneficial. So if you are giving angiotensin 2 blocker, so that will cause improve the activity of type 1 receptor is blocked, and type 2 receptors takes an upper hand.
That's why spironolactone protective.
Yeah. Okay. So now we talked about kidney diseases. We finished here. We finished pheochromocytoma. Now we are talking about mineral corticoid hypertension. So primary aldosteronism is a compelling example of mineral corticoid hypertension. In these disorders, the aldosterone primary means, what do you mean by primary? Primary means what?
No secondary cause.
Blood gland.
Yes, yes,
This RAS, what we are writing RAS, this is usually asked in many of the MCQs.
Cause disease.
You say renin, angiotensin, aldosterone. In primary aldosteronism, this is suppressed. Renin secretion is less.
Independent of renin.
Yeah?
Secretion of aldosterone will be independent of renin.
Independent of renin. Independent of renin. Normally, aldosterone synthesis from the renin is going on. But in primary aldosteronism, the renin secretion is suppressed. So this is primary aldosteronism. Secondary aldosteronism, hyperaldosteronism, where do you find?
Increase the renin secretion.
Increase renin secretion. What are the conditions?
Secondary.
Yes?
As I said, secreting renin.
Decrease perfusion to kidney.
Perfusion. What more?
Renal stenosis.
Congestive heart failure, what happens?
Yes, increase the RAS.
Cirrhotic, what happens?
Cirrhotic.
Hepatorenal, maybe.
Cirrhosis, what happens to volume?
Cirrhosis, yes, increase the RAS also.
Though there's secondary
Yes.
hyperaldosteronism. Okay? Nephrotic syndrome, cirrhosis, congestive heart failure. These are the three examples for secondary hyperaldosteronism. Already covered in previous lecture in year 2. Okay? So here, the aldosterone synthesis release are independent, renin release is suppressed. Renin release is suppressed. High circulating levels of aldosterone causes glomerular hyperfiltration and albuminuremia. We talked about angiotensin. We were talking about renin. So any tumor which is secreting renin will cause hypertension. Renin secreting tumors. We talked about excess angiotensin 2 causing 3 failures. Okay. And now we are talking about mineralocorticoid. Primary aldosteronism covered. Now we are talking about mineralocorticoid receptors. Apart from the glomerulosa, it is expressed in a number of tissues in addition to the kidney. Kidney, your sodium potassium exchange in the kidney by aldosterone. Also, number of tissues it is expressed. Lot number of tissues these mineralocorticoid receptors are expressed. So it is expressed in the heart. Other than kidney, it is also expressed in blood vessels. Mineralocorticoid receptors are also expressed in heart and blood vessels apart from kidney.
Yes.
Clear? Now, heart, what it is causing? Myocardial fibrosis. Myocardial fibrosis. Kidney, nephrosclerosis, blood vessels, inflammation and remodeling, vascular
Maybe
inflammation and
the inflammation will
remodeling.
lead to atherosclerosis.
Yeah.
The previous slide.
Yeah?
When you spoke about it, maybe inflammation will lead
Yeah.
to atherosclerosis.
Yeah, of course. It could be. Good idea. Yeah. This inflammation can lead to, because it's essentially atherosclerosis is inflammatory. So that will participate by this, we don't know. Renin secreting tumors of renin dependent hypertension. And we already mentioned about secondary renal artery stenosis as renovascular hypertension, abdominal bruit.
This is secondary hypertension, Doctor.
This is we are talking about abnormalities in the renin angiotensin. We have classified according to alteration in blood volume, according to changes in renin angiotensin system, according to changes in the sympathetic outflow.
Yes.
If you go back, these 4,
Cause of primary or secondary.
all is, this is primary we are talking about. We are talking about, now I have not changed. We are talking about secondary as well. I have included the secondary as well. For example, near renovascular hypertension, that is secondary. Pheochromocytoma, it is secondary.
Yes.
End-stage renal disease, it is secondary. Okay? So when the cause is not known, you say primary, otherwise it is secondary. You say. Okay?
So increased receptor of mineralocorticoid. You mean some people has increased receptor of mineralocorticoid, that's why they have hypertension?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that is the reason. You have to find out, sir. Okay? Read and interact with me. I will also read. So that is a good question. So this is what he has mentioned about the mineralocorticoid. Means if you have more of aldosterone here, mineralocorticoid receptor means aldosterone.
Yes.
Excess of aldosterone We can cause changes in any of these three structures, not only kidney, also in the heart and blood vessels. Okay? Also in the heart and blood vessels. Heart is causing myocardial fibrosis, kidney nephrosclerosis, and here also this is atherosclerosis.
Yes.
All sclerosis, if you can remember sclerosis, sclerosis, sclerosis. Hardening of all the three structures. Okay? So now coming to the vascular mechanisms. So here you might, I think you must have an MCQ from the physiology point of view. Resistance to flow varies inversely with the fourth power of radius. Suppose if the radius is half, what happens?
Increases.
How much? If the radius is half, how much resistance it can increase?
Double.
Double maybe.
Double.
Four times.
Radius is half, and I say fourth power of radius. So this half in the denominator, 2 to the power of 4 means R 2 to the power of 2 into 2, 2 to the 4.
Yes.
So same thing. So 2 to the power of 4, 4 to the power of 2 is equal to 60. If the radius is half, the resistance increased by 16 times. So usually these are MCQs which are asked USMLE type as well. Okay. So decreased pneumo size increases the resistance. So question is better.
Yes.
Those who love mathematics after a long time. Huh? No, we should have to raise the level of the MCQ. You have the basic MCQ, below average, average, above average, Mumtaz, Jayyid. So this is Mumtaz, Jayyid MCQ.
Dr.
Yeah.
Mumtaz by HIC. They put a lot of Mumtaz. Give to.
No, what I teach I am giving. It is not that what which I not teach I don't like to give. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. In hypertensive patients, you have structural, mechanical, and functional changes because of the decreased lumen diameter of small arteries and arterioles. Okay. In hypertensive patient, definitely you have decreased lumen of the small arteries. Hypertrophic, increased cell size, increased deposition of intracellular matrix, or eutrophic vascular remodeling gives rise to decreased lumen size, increased resistance. We are only talking about resistance here. Resistance is increased. You must know this happens with the fourth power of radius. If the radius is half, the resistance increases by 16 times. Clear? Okay. Atherosclerosis give rise to stiffer arteries. The vascular compliance. So stiffer arteries will give rise to decreased vascular compliance. Decreased vascular compliance.
Or increased resistance.
Yes, increases. So it increases systolic blood pressure and increases pulse pressure. Clear? Can somebody explain how? Yes? Naeem? How this increased systolic blood pressure is happening in stiffer arteries?
It's increased still and also decreased
Resistance.
diastole.
Yeah.
Not just increased.
Yes? That's why there is increased pulse pressure.
So it's the growth of the blood vessels,
Huh?
which is going to decrease the diameters.
Hmm?
So with the blood flow, it is going to increase.
Narrow blood vessel, the heart has to pump more to flow the blood.
Yes?
That's why. Atherosclerosis, narrow blood vessel,
Yeah?
so the heart has to contract more.
Hossam, do you have any explanation?
Like to him for systole, but for diastole I don't know because it's decrease, not increase. Diastole in atherosclerosis it should be decreased.
Why?
Yes.
Maybe the systolic phase of the heart will be more, as Musab said. Will pump the blood and systolic
No,
phase
that
will
is,
be more.
Maybe
they store depend on total blood resistance.
Yes?
And the systole
Hmm?
on cardiac output.
Yes?
So both increase.
Both increase, which increase?
Atherosclerosis will narrow the blood vessel, right? The total
Yes.
blood resistance will increase.
Yes?
The diastole will increase.
an atherosclerosis decrease.
Decrease.
Explain.
For diastolic pressure, you are talking about the component, the seat of the peripheral resistance. Seat of the greatest peripheral resistance is arterioles. Agreed. But what is the other component of diastolic blood pressure? Physiology. I'm talking about physiology now.
Okay.
One component is definitely yes. Here is the resistance by the arterioles because of the decreasing size. One component of diastolic blood pressure. What is the other component? Which contributes to diastolic blood pressure?
Length of the vessels and the elasticity.
Elasticity. Which elasticity? Where you are seeing this elasticity?
The aorta.
Aorta.
Yes, recoil and.
So with aging, what happens here is when the heart is contracting, the aorta expands. If a question is coming, for example, what is responsible for, all these heart, all the tissues of the body, they have got continuous blood flow.
Yes.
How? Heart is contracting. So only systole they should get blood flow. Why? How they are getting in diastole?
When the aorta recoil.
Now, exactly right. When the aorta, during diastole, the aorta is recoiling back, generating pressure. This is another component of the diastolic blood pressure. So we have got two components. Okay. So these stiffer arteries, so when the aorta becomes stiff because of the plaques, it cannot expand. So the whole of the diastolic blood pressure is transmitted. That's why there is increase in diastolic pressure. You understand?
Yes, yes.
Because this is an important concept. I think I should bring some water with me when I'm coming. Huh? I should. Now the heart is contracting, it is pushing. So if the aorta is elastic, it is not stiffer, it expands, thereby decreasing systolic pressure normally. What is the organ that has got phasic blood flow?
The heart.
Excellent. Why not others are answering? Phasic blood flow. Phasic blood flow means only during the diastole it gets its blood supply, not during the systole.
Yes.
That is the meaning of phasic. So during the normal systole, the aorta expands and there is decrease in systolic. And when it relaxes, the aorta recoils back. So increasing diastolic. So this is the normal happening. But with the stiffer arteries, the systolic pressure increases, the diastolic pressure decreases. So suppose here it is 120/80. So the blood pulse pressure is 40. Here it becomes 130 by, say, what is happening to the diastolic? There is increase in diastolic. So it will be, say, 100, say. So it will be 30. So,
No, relax.
huh?
Decrease diastole. Decrease diastole. Decrease diastole.
Decrease diastolic. Yeah. Decrease diastolic.
Normally 50.
Yeah. So normally it's this becomes 70. So white pulse pressure 70. This is white pulse pressure. So it will be 60. So this is increase in pulse pressure. Clear or not?
Yes.
Anybody disagreement? No disagreement? So this is the component. If the plaques are there, if the aortic plaques, ulcerated atherosclerosis, very stiff, it cannot expand in systole. So we have increased systolic pressure with the plaque. And so when it has not expanded, there is no recoil back. So there is decreased diastolic. Decreased diastolic. So the pulse pressure increases. Clear?
Doctor, so the normal decrease systolic and increase diastolic?
Normal?
The left normal, you mean?
Yeah. And this is what it is causing the blood flow during diastole to all the tissues. To all the tissues.
Yes.
the thing is that physiology must be explained well, then the pathology becomes easier. Similarly, if the histology is well, I have seen, my slide was there in CBS exam for the atherosclerosis. And different people have written differently. They have written coronary artery. Somebody has written aorta, somebody has written coronary artery. What is the difference between coronary artery and aorta? Is there a difference or no difference? So if you know histology of an artery, small artery versus a large artery, it becomes easier. I think this is for the junior batch, not your batch. Yeah. So it was in a microscope. So some people wrote coronary artery for the same slide, some people wrote aorta for the same slide. That means normal histology, they have not understood. Some of them, at least. Okay. So atherosclerosis increase systolic blood pressure and increase pulse pressure. It decrease diastolic pressure. Now the complexity of the subject is being increased. Ejection of the blood into the aorta elicits a pressure wave that is propagated. Now the heart is contracting, a pressure wave is generated. A pressure wave is generated. So one is the incidental and the other is the reflected. One is the forward traveling wave generates a reflected wave. Suppose water is there, you are throwing water like this. It reflects back with the walls. With the walls, it reflects back. So that is a reflected wave that travels backward towards the ascending aorta. So you have a forward traveling wave and you have a reflected wave. Due to the timing of these waves, there is increase in systolic pressure, decrease in diastolic pressure, so increase in pulse pressure in atherosclerosis. Okay? Now, the aortic augmentation index is an index of arterial stiffening, atherosclerosis. Now they are measuring this as clinically. It's calculated as a ratio of central arterial pressure to pulse pressure. Now they are determining central arterial pressure. How they determine? If you go in footnotes, it becomes easier for you. Not everyone would like to have more of information. Where is that? I think I need to. Now, if you see here below, this is not for everyone. So here, the central blood pressure is measured directly by placing a sensor in the aorta, okay, or by tonometry, okay. So these are strong predictors of cardiovascular disease and all-cause mortality. So this is so important. Aortic augmentation index, okay. That is about aortic augmentation index between the central arterial pressure to pulse pressure. Now, we are talking about endothelial function. Nitric oxide, vasodilator. The secretion of nitric oxide is impaired in hypertensive patients. So, nitric oxide is a vasodilator. Secretion is impaired means, so there will be vasoconstriction. Now, the latest is about ion transport. Ion transport by the vascular smooth muscles contribute. Vascular smooth muscles, now we are talking about ion transport in the vascular smooth muscles. So, hypertension associated abnormalities of the vascular tone and vascular growth. They are modulated by intracellular pH. I for intracellular and pH. Intracellular
Doctor,
pH.
what is the relation between nitric oxide and
Now, that is a separate thing.
yes,
This is coming under vascular mechanism. This is a separate thing, this is a separate thing.
yes, it is. I'm with you. I mean, what is the effect of hypertension?
They have seen that the nitric oxide secretion is impaired in hypertensive patients. The reason, we don't know.
طيب it will be better consider also prostaglandin A2, which is has a vasodilator effect. If the endothelium is
No, they have seen that the nitric oxide secretion is impaired in hypertensive patients. Means they have recorded observation in hypertensive individuals. Okay? So, important here is the ion transport. We are talking about, there are about 3 ion transport mechanisms. Sodium and hydrogen transport, and chloride and bicarb. We will talk more about sodium and hydrogen transport. Sodium hydrogen exchanger is increased in hypertension by 2. It increases the vascular tone. What is tone? Physiologically, what do you mean by tone? Tone is?
Turn off the stop of the muscle.
Tone means, how do you define tone? Physiologically, from gamma.
The stretch, the muscle.
Tone. You are doing CNS examination, tone.
Remaining stress and the
Contraction
muscle
and relax.
Sustained contraction.
The partially contracted state is called tone. Partially contracted state of a muscle is called tone. It is not complete contraction, it is not complete relaxation, it is partial. Okay? So it increases vascular tone. Activity of the sodium hydrogen exchanger is increased. It increases vascular tone by 2. Rather 3 we have to talk about. Mainly 2 mechanisms. So increased sodium entry into the muscle. Vascular smooth muscle. You have the artery, you have the vascular smooth muscle. And the activity of the sodium hydrogen exchanger is there. So it increased sodium entry will cause increased tone by activating sodium calcium exchange. You know, everywhere calcium responsible for contraction.
Yes,
So this is causing increased intracellular calcium. Sodium hydrogen will activate sodium calcium exchange, causing increased intracellular calcium.
Clear.
Okay. Next, the increased pH. The increased intracellular pH enhances calcium sensitivity of the contractile apparatus. Enhances calcium sensitivity of the contractile apparatus. So increased contractility for a given intracellular calcium concentration. So sensitivity is increased. Sodium calcium, the intracellular calcium concentration is increased. Sensitivity is increased. And third is sensitivity to mitogens is also increased. Additionally, is increased sodium hydrogen exchange may stimulate growth of vascular smooth muscle by enhancing sensitivity to mitogens. So by these three, so these two will increase tone and this will increase growth. Mitogens. Mitogens means which causes the vascular smooth muscles to divide. So the lumen diameter decreases in size.
The normal action of sodium hydrogen exchange. The normal, is it entry of sodium to the cell and
Yeah, entry of sodium and exclusion of hydrogen.
so how pH is increased?
Huh?
How pH is increased?
pH.
Intracellular pH.
Yeah, it should be decreased. Sorry, this should be decreased.
No, intracellular will increase.
Huh?
If we excrete H ion, hydrogen ion, the intracellular pH will increase. That's right.
Yes.
Huh?
Intracellular pH,
Huh?
not extracellular,
This is intracellular we are talking about.
will increase.
I is intracellular.
Okay,
I is intracellular.
It's your right, Doctor.
that's right.
We-
Right?
Yes, I thought it's blood pH.
No, we are not. We are already said I is
Yeah.
for the intracellular. Here I will talk with intracellular pH. Clear? Now, Musab, can you explain this to your fellow colleagues? Explain them in Arabic.
Yes.
Explain them.
The next slide.
Yeah, next slide. Yes, the next slide. This slide.
The sodium.
Come here, draw. Yes, you must take part. Come and draw. There is here you can how learning happens. So this stimulates growth of vascular smooth muscle by enhancing sensitivity to mitogens. Okay. All this you will see now the effects in the hyperplastic arteriosclerosis, which we will see in the next lecture. Okay. That finishes. Let me